Posters weren't meant to last. They were printed, usually on cheap paper, put up and thrown away. But because some are kept, they now offer us an incredible glimpse into the values, worries, daily lives of people who lived here a century or more ago. This kind of material is known as ephemera, referencing the fact that it's here today, gone tomorrow, ephemeral. Now, these items aren't valuable on their own, but they do trigger memories. Have you ever saved a concert ticket or a programme to remind you of a special experience? In the past, posters were incredibly practical. Before radio, TV or the internet, they were the main way to shout a message across a town. A circus poster on a wall was never expected to survive, yet that odd piece of badly printed coloured paper that someone saved can now tell us so much about the time. Posters preserved at Tipperary Studies served many different functions, but in every case a message was being communicated, and here we can look at just some of them. One of the most striking pieces here is a reward notice for the murder of William Roe of Rockwell in 1847. Roe, a local magistrate, was killed over a land dispute. His fellow magistrates offered a huge reward for information, which adjusted for today's values would be worth many thousands of euro. The poster itself reveals the power structure of the day, listing the government first, then 3 lords, followed by MPs and local justices. Local newspapers of the time later confirmed that the suspected killer, evicted tenant John Lonergan, was hanged in March 1848. Reward posters like these were common because violent crimes often involved multiple attackers. The government relied on large payouts to informers to secure convictions, which is why the figure of the informer still holds such a strong and negative place in Irish memory. Now, another reward notice comes from 1845, issued by the Mining Company of Ireland. They operated coal mines near the Tipperary-Kilkenny border. Due to worker discontent, one of the company supervisors was attacked and wounded. The reward money came from different sources, showing who had a stake in the outcome. The company is offering £300, the government £100. Local landlords from whom the mines were leased, varying amounts from £10 to £25. The company even threatened to close the mine if the culprits weren't caught. The money amounts are printed in bold. Even with rough printing, cash grabs the eye. This earlier poster from 1830 served a very different purpose. It lists the many rules for a Church of Ireland charity based in Thurles. It reads a bit like minutes of a meeting, and essentially the more money a gentleman donated, the more say he had over who received help. The final rule even ordered 200 copies of this poster to be printed and sold for 4p each, with the money going towards 20 poor boxes to be placed around Thurles. Now, to qualify for aid, you had to have lived in the town for at least a year. Beggars were specifically excluded. There were even rules for charity meetings, like a 6p fine for swearing. Then, as now, charities needed to get their message out to make an impact. The 19th century was a time of large public protest meetings, and there was always plenty to complain about. This poster, likely from 1870, relates to a new agent for the landlord, Smith Barry, who was trying to reorganise his estate in Tipperary town. According to the poster, nuns, Christian brothers, respectable householders, butchers were all in various ways threatened by the changes. Such meetings were usually held on Sundays after Mass. Speakers were not named, making organisation easier. The authorities were always nervous about these gatherings, so the poster stressed that the meeting would be legal and constitutional. Auction posters are familiar, but this one for Bancha House, now a country house B&B, well, that survived almost by accident. It's advertising the sale of the house and 47 Irish acres, being sold by the administrator of the late parish priest, John Cooney. Looking at the poster today, you might miss the most important detail. What was for auction wasn't the house and land outright, but a time-specific interest in the property. This shows how seemingly straightforward documents can hide complex legalities. This next poster might seem boring, but it was essentially a declaration of war. The phrase "Conacre letting" was like a red rag to a bull. In the early 20th century, as tenants were beginning to buy their farms, some landlords held out, happy to make money from renting land, large amounts of land, to prosperous farmer businessmen to fatten cattle. These men were often called ranchers, and in the Templemore area there was a fierce ranch war, especially concerning the Carden estate. This poster illustrates how an ordinary-looking notice could carry powerful political and social tension. A collection of ephemera from the 1930s in Carrick-on-Suir gives us a wonderful snapshot of everyday life. What was showing at the local cinema? Perhaps a film with Greta Garbo or Clark Gable. An advertisement invites you, go to Powers for your tea, selling a loose-leaf tea from exotic chests that smelled of far-off Ceylon or Assam. Do you want to get to an important match at Cork? Well, the Great Southern Railway is running special trains for the event. On July 9th, 1937, at 1 o'clock, the life and work of the late Mr. James Aragon were up for auction. Among the chairs and farm equipment and inventory included a large heap of manure, literally crap for cash. And then this poster offering Cashel boys service 6 days a week for 30 shillings. Yes, that was some stamina. We also see advertising for early loyalty cards, stamps that customers collected just like today's reward programs. What survives from the past is often accidental and incidental. These posters may look simple, well they are, I suppose, but they're packed with meaning. Next time you see an old poster, a faded flyer or even a modern ticket, take a second to look closer. Ask yourself who made it, who read it, what it tells us about the world it came from. You might be surprised at the story hidden in something that was meant to disappear.